Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another oh-so-delicious list, and today I'm very excited to be talking about my top 69 auction/bidding game. And no, I didn't just pick 69 for the memes. I went through Board Game Geek, the most comprehensive board game website on the planet. I picked out every single one of the games that I played, and now they're here on this list. I'm going to rank them in these 6 categories: the great, the good, the forgettable good, the meh, the forgettable bad, and then, of course, the big B. It is that time for the live stream. The big B, which, of course, is just bad games that were so bad, they burned into my brain why they were bad. Because some games are forgettable bad. You're like, that wasn't good. I don't remember why it wasn't good. Big B games, they are in their spot there. So we're going to start off with one nobody's heard of. We're going to go with Stones of Fate. Now, this is actually a really stinking good game from a company called, I believe it's called Devious Weasel Games. And my buddy Travis Chance, who's a very humorous human being, and he's a game designer, pointed out that it felt like for a long time it was just Adjective Animal Game Company. And really think about that. You could probably think of about 5 to 6 off the top of your head if you really put some thought into it. This was a very forgettable game about moving stones all around the cards, but the designer of this game went on to design Campaign Trail, which was a massive Kickstarter hit. The second time around, that was picked up by another company that I really should remember the name of because my friend works for the company. Wow, that's my bad. Let's move forward. Next, we're going to talk about Downforce. Now, Downforce is a weird game for me. This is a game that I feel like most people would just immediately slot in the grate and they'd be done, but it didn't do it for me. It's a racing game. It's a relatively simple game. It's from Restoration Game Studios, who I absolutely adore because they take these old games. Corporate America. I love Corporate America. We'll get there. Don't rush me. Corporate America. It's good. So good. We'll get there. But Downforce, good game for me. It didn't click with me. And I do have one of the expansions, and I think it makes it a better game, but it just didn't resonate with me. It was good enough that I kept it, because every time I play it, I get that sensation that, oh, everyone's having more fun than... Oh, I'm just messing with you. I'm getting the impression that everybody's having more fun than me whenever I play Downforce. I still have fun, but I'm going to put it in the good category. But that being said, if you haven't played it, I think most people would agree it's pretty great. Before I forget the name of this one, we're going to go with this one right here, which got cut off at the top. And by the way, I can look those up if I really need to. This is called Beta Bots. And this is like Munchkin streamlined, and it's almost in the forgettable good category, but I'm going to put it in the good category. And I'm actually going to put it right here below Downforce. But it really improved on so many things about Munchkin, and I don't remember how it was really auction or bidding, but I'm sure it was. And I shot a review of it, and I really enjoyed it, and whenever I pitched it to my game group and I said, it's like Munchkin, but better, they said, you know what? You lost us when you said Munchkin. So while I still this is one of those games that I'm going to play with my kids one day, and I'll be like, oh wow, this is why I remember keeping it. Good game, definitely one to check out, especially if you find it in the discount bin. That is Beta Bots, I believe is the name of it. It's actually right over there if I want to go look. So next we'll go with Modern Art, the Reiner Knizia Classic, and I'm slotting this one first game into the great category. And this is one thing I realized as I compiled this list of games, as I went through BGG. I don't think this is a mechanism that really is one of my favorite. Because while I do like a lot of the games on here, I wasn't as excited about nearly as many of these games as I was expecting to be, like when I did worker placement and deck building. But Modern Art is a really delightful, very simple game from Reiner Knizia. It got reprinted from CMON, and I think they've reprinted it 2 or 3 times now. That's how popular it is. But what I really love about this game is it has very unique, different ways to bid on the different paintings, because at its core, it's a really simple set collection game. And actually, you know what? This should be the top 70, because Modern Art, the card game, is another game that I own that I actually would slot even higher than this. Oh, what is this travesty? BGG! So and that is one thing I want to mention. This is not a comprehensive list. I went through Board Game Geek, and while most of the games, I imagine, do get... because on Board Game Geek, you can sort games by, like, set collection, or by their designers, or by their time length and stuff like that. And so these are all the games that were listed as auction/bidding. But Modern Art, the card game, from Eagle Griffin Games, is absolutely spectacular. It's a small box game. And quite honestly, right now, I'm going to put it in front of Modern Art. I mean, we're just going to have to remember it's there. But it's no longer at the top 69, though. But we're 70. But yes, Modern Art, it has different ways of bidding, a really enjoyable game. So this is Bowsack. It's actually called Bandu in America. It's a running joke with some of my friends on the Alaboom podcast I do every Wednesday night. But this is a really interesting stacking game where essentially you're going to pick a piece out of the middle. There's a whole bunch of random pieces, as you can kind of see here in the middle. Oh, Really similar, though. Okay, the card game is an auction. That spectacular news. I strike that from the record, but I will say I still enjoy that game more than Modern Art the card game because I thought it was really good. But yes, I didn't remember the mechanisms, so thank you. So, Modern Art the card game, currently, number 1. But Bowsack, back to Bowsack, it's a game where you pick a piece out of the middle, and then you say, all right, we're bidding on this piece, and then you're either bidding to keep the piece, which means if you end up winning that, you're gonna keep the piece and put it onto your own personal like little stacking area. As you can see, is this little castle right here that's like something you could build. Obviously, yours probably will never look like that because that looks really cool and nice. But you're gonna be building your own unique thing in front of you, or you can put something up and you can say, all right, we're bidding to take this. Or to not take this. And then you're bidding essentially because it's a really bad piece, it's an awkward piece, and you wouldn't want it. It's a very interesting stacking game. I wouldn't say it's forgettable good. I'd say it's good. And honestly, yeah, I'm going to put it right there. Because it's a good stacking game. It's definitely, if you see Bandu and you enjoy stacking games, definitely recommend that one. Not bad at all. Plus, you can skip the rules with the Skip the Rules video. All right, we're going with the Sunrise City. This is one of the unheralded games. This was from Game Salute, but I'm not sure if it was actually Game Salute. If I recall correctly, it's when they were in the process of changing their name from Game Salute because Game Salute had like a really bad reputation. I think, don't quote me on that, but I'm thinking that's the backstory on this one. And it's not a bad game. It's not in the Big B section. But it's a game where you're essentially going to be building the city, and you're actually going to be stacking tiles on top of other tiles. And so, like, you couldn't... It's really interesting. Like, you create layers into the city. And I remember enjoying the game... But all I remember is really the gimmick of stacking it on. There's my buddy Billy's game. Actually, I used to call him Willie. I called him Willie for a long time, and he never corrected me. And then one day, we were at a social gathering together, and I called him Willie. And someone was like, what? That's not his name. He's not Willie. And I was like, what? You've let me call you Willie for all these years? It was like a year plus. Non sequitur. But yeah, you know what? I gotta go forgettable good. Because I remember more about a lot of these other games than I do about this one. Unfortunate. Orc Olympics. This is one from Brain Games, who consistently puts out really great family and children's games. This one I would not say is a really great game. It's close between meh and forgettable good. I do remember the game, and the basic premise is there was drafting at the beginning, and you're drafting these different orcs or goblins. They all have different stats and attributes in the corner, and then you have like an Olympic thing where you can win points. But you know what? I remember too much about the game, and I didn't really think it was meh. It's a meh game. I remember playing that in my classroom, and the kids being like, meh, let's play something else, which doesn't normally happen as often. So yeah, I'm going to put it in the meh, which is unfortunate because I really do love Brain Games. Ice Cool, Spectacular. They have this really cool, trick-taking game. I should do a trick-taking game list. I already got 2 lists that people have suggested in front of it. But if you have a suggestion for a list, please let me know in the comments below. Also, be sure to click on that subscribe button, as I'm hoping to hit 9,000 subscribers to celebrate my 9-year anniversary of making board game content. 5 Tribes. I think this one's in the great category. I really love this. It's Mancala-esque. And it's one of those games that I don't own. My buddy Brandon owns it. And I do a Thursday night game group with him. So one of the few times I get out of the house at all during the week. And I really enjoy the game, and I want to play it more. I want to explore it more. But the feelings I had for it were so strong that I got to put it in the great category, but I can't put it above Modern Art. I played Modern Art like 10 times. Modern Art the card... Oh, it's so good. So good. But that tells you how much Modern Art the card game is. All right, let's go with... let's get this into the Big B bad. So I got to zoom in to remember the name of this because I want to make sure you don't ever accidentally... The Go Venture card game. Yes, the Go Venture card game. This is an absolute pile of that. Yeah, sometimes I don't understand why some of the games are there either. But, you know, I'm just ranking the games. Because, yeah, I don't remember. I thought it was mostly a Mancala game, but I'm sure there was bidding of some sort. But Go Venture card game, this was like 2 games in one, but the games were absolutely god-awful and identical, I want to say. And they were just, the box insert was terrible, and the game wasn't fun, and the rules I don't think were good. I don't even want to go back and revisit this. You know, honestly, it's forgettable bad, because I don't remember specifically what was so bad about Entrepreneur, but you know what I do remember? How much I freaking hated it, so it's going into Big B. The Big B ad. Don't ever play Go Venture card game, not even for the memes. Let's do it. New number 1, top of this. This is the front runner. I will say this is the front runner. If you have not played Corporate America, it is an absolutely delightful game. It is one of my favorite 6-player games of all time. It is a game about running for president, and but there's also all about the backdoor shenanigans of bribery and bidding, and it has its own distinct, unique phases, and each phase is just so much fun. First, you get to put out your companies and your businesses, and every single card is laced with humor, and the humor hits, and it's just good humor, like, which is not something you see too often in our hobby. It's good humor, and then you get to this phase where essentially you're trying to bribe people into picking certain businesses, like sin businesses or hospital businesses or green businesses, because then your businesses that you put in the first round that you put out are going to get paid. So then it becomes like this negotiating game where you're trying to, like, you're making backdoor shenanigans, but then once you do the backdoor shenanigans, you get into the presidential phase, which, oh my gosh, this game is so stinking good, in which you're then going to have these bills and laws that are going to come out, and they're going to say, all right, some of these bills and laws are going to go and put into place, and then some people are going to run for president, and then they're going to say, I will put this bill and law into play, but they can lie about everything, and when you do, it feels so good, and when people do it to you, it feels so bad, and that's only the tip of the iceberg with Corporate America, because this is not a video about Corporate America, but if you haven't played it, you need to check it out. Excellent game. But with higher player counts, I will say, I do like that one at best, the higher player counts. We're going to go with Spartacus. And unfortunately, this falls into the forgettable good category. You're probably like, what? This was a game, and this was actually a good game. This was a really stinking good game, but I don't remember anything about the game. I remember playing it twice. I don't even remember who owned the game, but I said, wow, because I actually played, I watched this TV show, and I loved the TV show, and I was like, this is going to be absolute garbage, and it wasn't absolute garbage. Likewise, I want to give a shout out to Uncharted, which is another pretty good game. But it's forgettable good. Unfortunately, so is Spartacus, but good. Find it in the discount bin, worth a try. Bruin USA, this game, oh my. It's never forget. It's going to go in the good category. But honestly, I'm leaning more towards the forgettable good, but there is one story that I have about this game, and that's what I love about board games. There's a story almost about everyone. This one uses bottle caps as, like, currency or something, if I recall correctly, and there's like 100 bottle caps in the game, but the only way they could do the shipping was to individually wrap each bottle cap with its own separate Ziploc bag. So when you first open up Bruin USA, you have to open up like 100 little teeny tiny Ziploc bags. But damn it, they were committed to their theme, and that keeps you out of forgettable good hanging out with Spartacus. As for on its whole, I remember you'd be bidding on different beers, and I really like the game. Honestly, I think it's the very top of the good category right now. I'd rather play this than any of these other games. And I think it's from Adam's Apple Games, who is a company that I think is one to watch out for. I really like how they run their business. I think they do a pretty good job from what I've seen. I think they pick pretty good games, and they got unique games. Last year, their Roll and Write was a little bit forgettable, but it was based off another IP. But in the end, I would love to see an expansion for Bruin USA, because I did think it was a rock-solid game. Next, we got Island Hopper, which is so close to being forgettable good, but I felt like there was a unique gimmick with this game where I think maybe you took your meeples and, like, threw them or dropped them. I think it was you were dropping them, and the game had cool ideas, and it was from Mayday Games, but in the end, I gotta go with forgettable good, because I don't even remember I'm not 100% sure that was the gimmick. I'm pretty sure it was, that we're, like, dropping them, but it didn't do enough for me. And I'm actually going to put it towards the bottom. That one's closer to the meh category for me. Wait, was that Mayday? That might have been Eagle Griffin. I don't remember. It was one of those two companies. I think it was Eagle Griffin, now that I say that. My excuses, Mayday Games. Even though I think Mayday Games is going the way of the Dodo Bird. It was like a blind drop thing or something. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yep. So I do remember the gimmick, but still forgettable good. Alright, Edge of Humanity from Golden Egg Games, and I feel the need to mention this now because I try to be socially conscious about, sort of stuff like this. Golden Egg Games, if I do recall correctly, is a company that has an outstanding game on Kickstarter. I don't know why I feel like I should mention that before I say that this is a pretty dang good deck-building game. And I'd rather play it than Downforce. I remember it was Deck Builder. I don't remember the auction/bidding. Which means we're getting closer to the forgettable good territory. but I remember enough. I do remember enough. And I also remember the box. The box ticked me off so much. This was a box, as I mentioned actually a couple weeks ago. It was a box that easily could have fit into like the game that could have fit into this size box, but instead they made it like a Dominion-style box. And actually, I think it's bigger than Dominion-style box. Slightly bigger. So no. But it was a good game. All right, what do we got? We got Beowulf. Forgettable good. I still own this. I still enjoy this. It was one of the games that I first got when I got into the hobby. And I have played it 5 or 6 times, and it was good. But forgettable. But definitely want to check out. One day I'll make a video on it. Lie. So I'm glad I got this one before I got the name of it. This was in the Pack O Games series, which is why this looks so weird. Because if you're not familiar with the Pack O Games series, it's really stinking cool. They essentially take like a tiny little stick of gum, like this, and then they put a game in there. And they came out with, I think, 3 separate, like, big Kickstarters where they had... So I think there's, like, maybe 12, 15 games out there that were in this line. And this one, I think, is by far my favorite. And it was Liar's Dice, but with cards. And it was very well done. And I think it's great. And honestly, I'm putting it there, which I know is kind of crazy. You're like, what? It's that good? Yeah, this is one of the few games that I remember for, like, a couple of years I took with me everywhere. Like, this was one of my travel games where I was like, all right, if the situation arises, this is a great one. So yeah, I'm putting it up there. Trump! Let's get it. Get it out of the way. Trump the game. We're putting it in the meh for now. I'm trying to remember, I reviewed this game. I did a crazy review. It was a bad review. It was a really bad review. And this was before he was even president. It was just weird. I set the game on fire. Maybe it was before. I don't remember. I set his mouth on fire. I mentioned Ben Carson. It was bizarre. It was so weird, but you're used to that. But anywho, it wasn't a political statement. It was not a political statement. It was because the game was bad. And the thing was, I remember that the game had good ideas. I do remember that the components were nice, and the game had good ideas. And it had like Monopoly money, but with Trump's face on it, which I still have. I still got one up there on a magnet just because it's so weird. But it was not a good game, and I don't remember why it wasn't a good game. And as much as he would hate it, I'm going to put his game in the forgettable bad, because I feel like that's the last thing that Donald Trump would want his game in. But I don't remember why it was bad. I do not. Pixel Glory. Also one that did not resonate strongly with me. However, I will not put it in the forgettable bad, even though that's where I'm leaning towards. I have to go back to my review to remember what I even thought about it. And in that case, I feel like this is a very strong rule that I'm going to start using in the future, is when I don't remember that much about a game, that probably means it's a meh game. It probably does. And with this one, I'm going to put it slam in the meh because, you know, I've reviewed over 1,000 games. I've played literally thousands and thousands of games. And if I can't remember if you were good or bad, that means you must have been somewhere just that I wasn't enjoying that much. Case in point, Capital City. I remember not liking this game. No, it's not Capital City. It's, I think, it's some weird game. I messed this up a couple weeks ago. It's a forgettable bad game. I did not enjoy it. And while I am leaning to the meh, I don't remember that game that much. And I feel that strongly. Yeah, I feel strongly that I did not like this one. Because this was one that I actually remember we played twice. And I still I didn't care so much that I didn't even shoot the review. And then the worst, and this happens so often, I hate when this happens, this is some behind the scenes stuff. The worst is when you play a game and you're ready to shoot the review, and the game's like, meh. And then you forget to shoot the review, and then you go back like a week later, like, I don't remember anything about this game because it was so incredibly just blah. And that's how I felt about Capital City. So it's on my shelf. It's on my shelf of shame. One day I'll make a video on it. But for now, slot in the forgettable bad. But when I make the review, it'll probably potentially go into the big B, because I'll remember why I didn't like it. This one, Fuzz. This is a weird one. They were like, hey, what if we took Liar's Dice, because this game is Liar's Dice, but, here's the catch, we only make it 4 players. Like, well, it's normally better with more players, but hey, whatever, make it 4 players, and then you make it like about weird hipster animals. But with great components. I do remember there's great components. You can kind of see right there. There's these plastic shells that you have in there that your dice go into, and nice custom dice. You can see it's really nice artwork. I mean, you can see right from there. Quality artwork. This was a Target game, I do believe. And it was forgettable good. I mean, it wasn't a bad game. The whole time you're like, wow, I wish you could play with more players than 4. which you could if you put together more than one copy of the game. But in the end, can I go? No, I can't go forgettable good. I gotta go meh. I gotta go meh here. Let's be fair. This is a meh game, because I do think Liar's Dice is a good game, but this format of it is meh. You know, yes, you could do it, but you'd be better off just going and getting a thrift store copy for way cheaper, because you get to play with more players. One of the few games I own 2 copies of. Oh, Boomtown. Oh, man. Oh, here we go. We got our first issue here. Boomtown's either going to the left or to the right of corporate America, and I really need to think about this for a second. So Boomtown, if I recall correctly, is Bruno Cathala, and Bruno Feduti teaming up on a game and absolutely destroying that game. Boomtown is an absolutely delightful bidding game in which you are going to be bidding on these mines, these colored mines. If you have enough of these mines, then you can become sheriff of the town. But there's also a whole bunch of special cards that you'll be bidding on that will allow you to open up saloons so you can tax other people or steal people's mines or try to rob people. It's over and done in about 30 to 40 minutes, and it is an absolutely delightful auction game with a really cool mechanism where when you're bidding on things, you're bidding on a row of cards. Everyone is going to get one of these cards, but if you win the bid, you get to pick first, and then it goes clockwise around who gets to pick second, which makes the auctioning really interesting, because you're perfectly happy if the person right next to you wins the auction, because then you're going to pick second. But what's unique about this game is you're also perfectly fine being last, because if you're last, you win half of the bid that they put forward. So if someone bids 12, you're going to get $6 as a consolation prize for picking fourth. And it's such a stinking good game. Just totally underrated. I want them to make us an expansion for it so bad. Bruno Feduti actually retweeted me a couple days ago, which was pretty cool. But yeah, Bruno, let's get on that. Let's get us an expansion. Just give me 12 promo cards. I'd put Boomtown on the bottom of the grade. Oh, on the bottom. Okay. So we're both in the same ballpark. Boomtown is great. I will say, little bit of shaded vision here. This was one of my first games that got me into the hobby. Actually, this was one of the first games I ever bought. I bought it at Gen Con. It was like $6, just beat up to... It had gone through a fight in shipping. And, oh, I love it. I probably played the game 30 times. Love it every time. This game, here we go. Unprofessional looking, but I don't even want to look up this. If you ever see a game with this box, run away. And we're going there. And I don't think it was the gameplay. I think it was the rules. If I recall correctly, it was the rules on this game, and I'll zoom in. Just burn this image into your brain, and if you ever see it, just run away. Just run away. It's bad. It's bad. The rules bad. So bad. All right. Speaking of so bad, we're gonna go right here with The Princess Bride: A Battle of Wits, which, as much as I would love to put it in the Big B category because it deserves it, it is not a good game. I'd say it's a bad game. I don't remember why it was bad. Now, in all fairness, I don't remember why it was bad, because this company, which was Game Salute, yes, you stinky minx, I see your link down there. We all know Everling Games that do Everdell. Starling Games is secretly Game Salute. We all know that, right? That's the truth. That is totally the truth. They went off brand because Game Salute was, towards the end, a flaming dumpster fire, just from complaints from a lot of people. And it was the kind of thing where there was just... You know, and when you hear that, you're like, okay, well, we can't jump to conclusions, but when there's so many people, like, here's the paper trail, like, kissing and telling about everything, it was just bad. I remember they released a couple of these small box Princess Bride games, and I remember they were not good. I think all of them were bad, so I don't particularly remember which one this is. There was like a pick your poison one, too, but this is forgettable bad. You ever see it, steer clear. Get the newer ones I've heard are pretty good, but this one... No thanks. Alright, we got the Butterfly Garden. This is forgettable good. It was Golden Bell before there was a Golden Bell. Horrible. Yeah, Game Salute. Ooh, you want to go down a rabbit hole. Go Google some Game Salute. Maybe I'll make a video on that one day. That would probably ruffle some feathers. But it would make a damn good video, and I'm here for the viewer. I'm not here for Game Salute, or whatever they're called now. Alright, the Butterfly Garden with Steve Finn. Steve Finn makes some good games. I don't think I've ever played a game from Steve Finn that I thought was great, though. He just hasn't hit it out of the park with me. Actually, he did with one game. The Space game, the Space Dice game. That's such a good Space Dice game. I wish I remember the name of it. But anywho, this is a good one. So I take it back, Steve. You did. You've cracked my great category. But not in the auction and bidding, because I'm going to put this towards the bottom. Actually, I'm going to put this in forgettable good. Top of forgettable good. Because I don't remember anything about this game. And the other thing is, he has quite a few games that he's worked on. Cosmic Run. Yes, it's Cosmic Run. I love Cosmic Run. Thank you. You were. That's amazing. That's like a board game Alexa. Oh, God. Don't say that too loud. The Butterfly Guard, it was good. And I remember every game that I've played of his that has like this, the very light, kind of floaty sort of theme. You know what I'm talking about. Like there's one about flowers, and there's one about the garden, and there's one I think about tea or something. I remember it was good. I might still have it, because I remember it being a good family game, but I don't remember why it was good. Couldn't tell you. Novocry. Now, if I recall correctly, this game has quite a backstory, which is one of the interesting things about doing Kickstarter videos, is like, when I do a board game, like if I go to Gen Con and they say, here's a game, we'd like to review it, I review the game and the story's pretty much over. Done. But when you do a Kickstarter preview, you do the video and you play the game generally before the Kickstarter starts. So you start off the story. And then whatever happens during the Kickstarter is its own separate different story that happens. I've had games that didn't fund. I've had games that massively funded. I've had games that have been colossal failures. I've had games that didn't even freaking happen despite the fact they paid me to make a video. And I know they paid other people to make videos. Like, so it has its own separate story, but then there's also the shipping and the reception afterwards. If it's a good game, it's a bad game, it has production issues. And I remember Novocry has a story. I don't remember what that story is, so I'm going to slot it at the top of forgettable good. But honestly, I think this is more in the good category, but I don't remember that much about the game, because I played the prototype, and I remember really liking the prototype, and I kept the prototype. This was very uncharacteristic. I remember actually playing the prototype after I'd already played it, if I recall correctly, after I'd shot the video, which doesn't happen very often at all, because I really did enjoy it. But I don't remember anything else about it, and I didn't get a final copy of it, because, spoiler, they always forget. Not always, but 90% of the time they forget. You do have to remind them, and most of the time I don't even want to. It's like, it's an awkward, you know. Power Grid. Ooh, here we go. Oh, wait, Boomtown. Did I put Boomtown above Corporate America? I did. I can't do that. I can't do that. Can't do it. I can't do it. Corporate America is just too good. All right, but Power Grid is a game that I really enjoy. Unfortunately, my game group does not like it, but I love the number crunchy goodness. It has one of the cooler auction mechanisms. Actually, really excited because I have another Friedman Freeze games that I've read the rules for, but our game group got canceled this last week because of snow, called Fayum, which is like a deck building auction bidding game, and it looks really cool, from Friedman Freeze, of Power Grid fame. And while I will put it like this, I think Power Grid is a more well-designed game than Boomtown. I have more fun with Boomtown, and Boomtown, I can play that probably 2-3 times in the same time I play Power Grid. But those are very close. Better. Picturika. This is a mass-market Hasbro/Milton Bradley style game. It's an I Spy game primarily. I don't remember auction. Oh, there is bidding. There is bidding because, so essentially you're looking at this giant board, and it's made with like a bunch of like square pieces like this, and you can flip them over. I think you might even be able to do some crazy stuff with them. And they have different images on them. All sorts of crazy, really cool images. And if I zoom in there, you can kind of get a feel for the art style, because the art style in the game is absolutely delightful. I can get there. Come on, right there. Yeah, you can kind of get a feel for it. It's really cool, family-friendly stuff. But you bid on how many of a certain... so you're going to flip over a card, but you're going to bid on how many of whatever's on that card you can find. So you might be like, I think we can find 4 or 5, and then once you flip it over. So there is bidding in there. And I remember it being a good I Spy game. Very fun. Better than Balsac. Better than Swords of Fate. Yes. Really. Yes. Am I really keep going? Am I really going? Wow. I really enjoy Picturika. I do. And I tell you what, that was a game that was in my classroom for a very long time, back when I used to work with kids in the 7 to 10 range. Actually, 7 to 12 at one point. But they absolutely adored this game. It got played the snot out of, because it was really easy to learn, easy to teach. Not much text. Great one. Air Show. One of the first games that I ever got into the hobby. My first, man. I always remember my first kiss just as much as I always remember my first bad rule booklet, which was Air Show. Airshow has a god-awful rule book, and I've actually went back in the rule, because I was like, maybe it was just because I was newer into the hobby, and that's why the rule book was so bad, but I went back since then, and was like, no, this was still bad. It was a really cool game, though. I remember you were putting on an air show, and you bid on planes, and you bid on other things, and it was really cool. But, bad rule books, they're so hard to gauge. They're really hard, because the game itself, once we got it up and running, was like, this is fun. But I remember it being a beast to learn, so we're going to put it at the top of the meh. That's a game that I still own and I'd still like to revisit. Yeah, I think that's about right. All right, Campy Creatures. This one is from the people who made Parks, which was their big breakout hit. And you bid on creatures, I think. And this game got made, honestly, because of its artwork more than anything. It had good components, good artwork. I remember the rulebook was good. But I just thought it was good. I got rid of it eventually. It got an expansion. So I think most people put it in the good. I'm going to put it towards the top of the forgettable good. Right. No, I'd rather go revisit Spartacus. No, actually, I'd rather revisit that. Yep. But no Island Hopper, you can say there. All right. What do we got? Siege of Sunfall. Yeah, I did a Kickstarter video for this one. Didn't get a copy of it afterwards. From Great Gnome Games. I do believe from Great Gnome Games. Great game company, by the way. They consistently put out good games. And I remember liking this game. I think it was good. I don't remember why I liked it, so we're going to the forgettable good. But I remember it was better than... Probably about there. All right, I'm going to do one more, then I'm going to take a 17-second pause. So let's do one that's easy to talk about. Let's do with... Monopoly. Oh, wow, it's here. Well, it's here. We'll talk about it. I'm meh. I loved it as a kid. I did. But I can't go nostalgia here. I can't. It's would I play this game now? The answer is yes, I would. Because I still enjoy it to a certain degree, but it's meh. I gotta go with meh. I'll go with the top of the meh, because I am excited to play Monopoly with my family, even though I like it better digital, because it does a lot of the bookkeeping. But now there's a 17-second intermission. Talk amongst yourself. Whoop. All right. We are back with For Sale. Oh my. Great. Immediately great. No doubt about that. If you're not played For Sale, it is such a delightful little game. Put it on your next Amazon placement. I like the Monopoly if you use the auction and trade rules. I don't actually know if I've ever played it correctly, unless it was on like a video game system. But For Sale, really delightful little tuck box card game. Probably one of my favorite tuck box card games of all time. I would love to see if that's a list somewhere that I could do on Board Game Geek. But this is one where you start off purchasing the houses, and then at the end, you have to like sell them off. I don't remember. It always throws me off. It's a delightful little game. Man, is it? But if I can't describe it that much, does it go in great? I don't think it does. I have a hard time, like all these other games, I can give you a rough idea of how to play that game. I can give you a short elevator pitch. I don't think I can do that for Sale, despite the fact it's a really simple game. Top of the good. That hurts. Because I played For Sale 10, 15, 20 times. But if I played a game 10, 15, 20 times, I should remember more about the game, right? Right? Interesting. Il Principe! It's one of my first ever Euro games. I think it's a Euro game. Oh my, look at that cover. That's a Euro game. And I don't remember a dang thing about this game. I'm looking at it right now. It is collecting dust. I will not get rid of it until I shoot a video on it. I remember liking it when I first got in the hobby, and I don't remember anything else about it. But I would rather play it than, actually, nah, you can't go above Spartacus, Il Principe. Not happening. Skull, however, yes, we're back in the great category. Skull is an absolutely delightful little bidding game that was based off of just, what is it? Bar? I think they're bar coasters. I think was originally how this game was made. And it is just such a fun time. I've played this many times. It's a great drinking game. Essentially, you got X number of lives, and you're essentially bidding on something. I think it's how many roses or something that there are. It's a take on Liar's Dice. It's great. It's great. And this one I will give a pass. I don't feel like I can give you the 2-minute elevator pitch as much because every time I play Skull, there's normally drinking involved. No one's just like on a game night like, hey, let's play Skull. It's like, hey, we're drinking. Let's play this game that pretty much has coasters. So Skull, great drinking game, but also still a great not drinking game. Arena. This is a very forgotten one from Yellow, and I recall this one had really cool, and I still own it actually. This is a really cool game because of the board it creates. Like it creates this combat arena. But you actually make like these 3D standees out of cardboard. They're like spikes, and you have to navigate around. And if I recall correctly, you're bidding on different weapons and equipment, and all the different weapons, equipment give you like stat upgrades, but they also give you like cool special abilities. But I remember it had like a bunch of like really cool like there was a lightsaber and Thor's hammer and all sorts of cool stuff like that. Like obviously it didn't say Thor's hammer, but you knew exactly what it was. That sort of thing. And I remember it being a good game. I kept it. Honestly, if I kept it, I probably... if I had played this in the last year, it'd probably be in the great category. But for now, I'm going to put it at the top of the good, because I really did enjoy it. But I don't remember that much about it. It was one of those games that I was like, this is so good that I am going to hold on to it for like 8 years so I can eventually play it with my kids. And that's such a weird thing about having kids, too. It's like, yeah, this game's not really good enough for game night most of the time, but man, about in 8 years, me and my kids are going to have a blast with this. Is that a hoarder tendency? That might be. Still a good game, though. Top of the good. But no, I can't do that to you for sale. I don't remember as much about you, but I know I've had so much fun with For Sale. Wanted 7. Forgettable Bad. This was a game I got from Essen, and I remember they gave me 3 games, and all of them were bad. They were not good. And this one, I don't remember what I didn't like so much about it, but I remember not liking it. And yeah, I'm going to put it right there. I think I'd rather play the Trump game. That's an odd statement. Scoville! Definitely going into the very good category. I would put this... Scoville is all about making peppers, if I recall correctly, and trying to make hot peppers, because Scoville is actually the hotness that peppers are. And it was from Tasty Minstrel Games, which once... Because right now, Tasty Minstrel Games, I believe, is all but dead. Like, they're still putting out, like, their Kickstarters. They're going to fulfill things, I hope. But because they used to sponsor me, so I know a little bit of the insider stuff. But I remember, I hope this game sees a second life, because it was a really enjoyable game. Played it 2 times. I don't remember that much about it aside from making the peppers, but it was good. And honestly, I can't do it to you For Sale. Can't do it to you. I've had too much enjoyment For Sale. I just don't remember that primary bidding mechanism. I know, it's you bid on the stuff early, and then the cards that you... That's right. You buy the houses, and the house's value is, like, good for you or something, but then you also sell the... I don't remember. Good category. Stop trying to put it in the bad cat, or the great. You don't belong in the great, you belong in the good. Alright, QE. This one is such a unique game. This is a bidding game that came out from boardgametables.com. I think it came out last year. And it's so weird, because it's a bidding game, but the catch is you can bid as much as you want. You essentially just get to make up the currency. So one person can completely just absolutely break the market to win. I don't remember what you were bidding on, but they can break the market. But if they break the market, then the broken market now kind of becomes the new market. Then eventually somebody else breaks the market, and it's just such a fun and unique game. And I think it could go into the good category eventually, but for now I'm putting it in the great category. eventually, but I'm going to put it in the good category right now because I've only played this once. That one I will say, I've only played this one time. But, yeah, I'm going to put it there. I could see it going bad, though. I could see this going very poorly. Actually, I think we did play it twice that night. I don't remember. But I remember it being very good. Definitely one to check out if you like auction and bidding games. Mo Money. This one kind of flew under the radar. This one is from Mayday Games. And this one is a game about running a lawn mowing business. And I think you were bidding on like different lawn mowers, and maybe you had like errand boys or something you were bidding on. That doesn't sound right, not bidding on people. But it was good. It was forgettable good. I actually still own it because I remember it was like one of those ones where I was like, oh, this is such a good family game. So if if you see this on the cheap and you're a family gamer, I do recommend it because I remember there was a unique twist with the auction in the bidding, but I don't remember what it was. And so we go into the forgettable, but I do remember it goes up to 6 players, which bumps you right up towards the top of most 6 players. No, it's not going above Novocry. Outer Earth. All right, this one was on my shelf of shame for a very long time. It did get played, and I remember it was good. It was okay. It was okay. But where does okay go? Is okay meh or is okay forgettable good? Forgettable's good and getting full. I'm putting it right here. I'm putting it in the meh category. I remember it had cool paddles that you held up because it was auctioning, and then the paddle was like space. You were in space, and I don't. Yeah, that sounds like a bad game to me. That sounds like a bad game to me, and I would rather revisit Monopoly. And I'd rather revisit Air Show, now that I think about it. But I would like to play this more than these 3. So, the list is good. And I look at this, and honestly, I think this is actually, I'm doing very good so far, at least in the meh, forgettable bad. Because I'm looking at these games, and this is the one I'd least like to play, and this is the one I'd most like to play out of just these games. You know what? Air Show goes there. Air Show is good. Air Show is good. It was just the rules. So you don't, We're Doomed. Oh, it's great. It's great. Top to the great. We're Doomed is such an insanely crazy game from Breaking Games where you're going to have this box in the middle and you're going to be putting things into the box, and it can be a cooperative game, but the rules change on the fly, and so people can have secret objectives, and there's these crazy cards that come into play, and I shot a live stream of it, and I played it about 10 times, and every stinking time I love We're Doomed. And I believe it's only 10, it's short. It's a shorter game. It is fast, it is frantic, it is hectic. You're going to be tons of laughing. Definitely one to check out. And despite the fact I can't describe it as well as some of the other ones, so it's got to be towards the skull, but I think... I think it goes up to 10 players, too. And for me personally, when a game can accommodate a high player count, it always gets my gusto going. So... how high do I go? I think I go there. But I think Power Grid. Wait. What did I forgot. No. Mud or not. You go down there. I messed up. I hate real-time games, but that one is great. So yeah, there you go. He hates real-time games, but still likes that game. And I love when people say that because I feel like that just means so much to me. When someone's like, "I hate this style of game," like the fact that you're going out of your way to say, I don't like this, but man, this is good. That tells me like, oh, okay. We're Doomed. I'm going to put it right here, but honestly, I think Power Grid eventually when I have a big box of Power Grid with all the maps and the expansions and the AI and stuff, I think Power Grid will usurp We're Doomed, and it could eventually do Boomtown. But for now, We're Doomed, my solid number 3. Good for you. Roar! Man, this one is meh. I played this twice, and if I recall correctly, the reason why we played it twice was because after the first time we were like, did we mess something up? And no, we didn't. It just wasn't very good. I think you have monsters and they fight, and we're going to go right there. Because it was, yeah. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. You know what I'm saying? You ever have one of those games like this is okay? A game that was not like that is Castles of Mad King Ludwig, which goes immediately into my great category. I love being the auctioneer in Castles of Mad King Ludwig, and I think it's just so much fun trying to figure out when to buy things and making your castle, and it really does a lot of things really stinking well. And I think that might be right where I put it, actually, because yeah, I'm going to put it there. I really like Castles of Mad King Ludwig. I think it's a delightful little game from Bezier Games. Alright, something of the Pharaoh. This was a 2-player Eagle Griffin game. Came in a big box like this one. If I recall correctly, the box didn't need to be that big. It was because it had a big board, I think. And it was good. It's a good little 2-player game. Wow, look at that. Eagle Griffin Games hanging out in the Forgettable Good together. Yeah, I think I'd rather go revisit Island Hopper. Worker placement. So you say, what? This is worker placement, the worker placement game. It's a very generic worker placement game about working in a worker placement center. And I really stinking like it as a worker placement game. I think it's a very good worker placement game. So it's going to go into the good. And it had bidding, I recall correctly, because I think you're bidding on employees, maybe? I remember the bidding was fun, though. This is one that I still own. I still own the Cash is King expansion, and I do like it, and I would rather play it. I almost got it played, actually, a couple weeks ago, so I'm going to put it right there. It didn't get played, but it almost got played. That's something. That's something, right? Biblios, another one, in the Forgettable Good. But I will say, I think if I owned this one, it would just be in the straight-up good. You know what? I can't do that. I can't do that. No, it's Forgettable Good, because I don't remember why I liked it, but it's towards the top of Forgettable Good, and honestly, I think it would be more closely straddled around here, if we're just going with goodness, but I don't remember what was good about it. It's about you running a church. I remember the theme was something that didn't interest me, and a lot of times when the theme doesn't turn me on, it's hard for me to get invested into the game. And I remember this one was about like running a church sanctuary or something, and I was like, oh, well. I mean, look at that art. Look at that cover. It just... You know, it's a very well-done cover. I'm not disrespecting the artwork by any stretch of the imagination, but it doesn't... Like, do I want to dive into this world? Like, do I want to be in the room with this conversation? Meh. Not particularly. Abyss. Also, yes, Biblios is top of the good. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think it is... I remember it being that strongly good, but I don't remember the game, so I gotta put it in the Forgettable Good, as with Abyss. I'll put it right there. Played Abyss twice. You got Pearls. There's a big guy, scary guy in the face. I think it was Bruno Cathala or Bruno Thadudi, I want to say, or Antoine Bauza. I want to say it was one of those three that designed the game. And it had like a big buzz because it had like different box faces. Like, oh, you get the purple one, and you know, it had an expansion. But overall, I think it kind of passed. And I don't particularly remember what I liked about it. I remember thinking, this is good. This is good stuff. It's not what I need to own, but, you know, I'm glad you own it, Ronnie. I think it was Ronnie who had it. Dragon's Interest. Back to Tasty Minstrel Games. Is Steve Finn's. That's the best of his games. Oh, okay. I still think I like Cosmic Run a little bit better. But that being said, if I had Biblios and I owned it, I could see it getting played more. Dragon's Interest was a really interesting Tasty Minstrel game that had a cool bidding mechanism that I don't remember. But I remember it right... Oh, not there. Right there. I know this one funded successfully on Kickstarter, and it was one of their least popular deluxeified games because they went to that well a lot. And this one didn't do that well. I think it was like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, which is great for most companies, but when you're expecting a lot more, and I don't think this one got released, and hopefully it doesn't become one of those Kickstarters that you hear about. But yeah. Had the box that you put coins in. That was the gimmick. Yes, that was the gimmick. That one was cool. And it's a cool game. But I don't remember that box. Spades. All right. This is an interesting one. It was very expensive on Kickstarter. Yeah, I do remember that. Because it was a deluxe edition. Spades the game. So, I like Spades. I'm more of a euchre player personally myself, but those are two very different style games, and I don't remember what I like about Spades, but honestly, Spades, I guess it would be considered one of my gateway games, because I didn't play Spades as a kid. I played Spades on, like, Xbox Live, and I remember really enjoying it. It got me more interested in card games, but I don't remember much about it. I remember there's suits, and it's cool. I know I'd rather play it than you know what? That's where it is. I'd rather go back and relearn Spades before I'd rather learn Il Principe. But barely working. This one was forgettable. Oh, no, I can't do forgettable bad. I don't think the game was bad, if I recall correctly. I think it was just meh. I think it was meh. And honestly, I'd rather go revisit Pixel Glory. I remember playing barely working and being like, wow, this is a game. It's not broken. But I just remember it was so boring. Yeah. I don't remember anything about that game aside from being bored and the cool bears. It did have cool artwork with like the bear. I remember the bears were like dressed as like cops. It was like cute little bears. Yeah, show me the bears. Show me those bears. All right, we're not looking at the bears. Lost interest. Colosseum. Yes, people will fight in the streets. Blood will be shed. Do you like the new version of Colosseum versus the old version? I personally like the new artwork. I really do. I know I am in the minority there. But I do, and this one has a really nice version of the game. I remember, so it's essentially, it's almost forgettable bad. It's almost forgettable good, but it's not. I'm gonna put it in the good category because I do like the game that much. Yeah, I'm gonna put it right there. Actually, another TMG staying together. But I remember you have like these different people moving around this Roman Colosseum, and I remember the board looked really cool. And I gotta be honest with myself. This is top of forgettable good for me. I own this game, and I think it's really good, and I like it a lot, but I don't remember what the heck... Yeah, I do. No. Let's go in there. Because I remember you were running a Coliseum, and I remember that was super cool and super thematic because you'd have different attractions at your Coliseum, and yes, I want to go back and play that now! Because I do think this could actually creep up into the great category, but I want to be able to... I don't feel like... If I cannot vividly explain the game to you, I don't feel like... it's great. I just can't do that. Festival of 1,000 Cats. This is another interesting one. So this... it's from Tasty Mitchell Games. They made a lot of really small box games, which I don't think was one of their best decisions, because a lot of them did not sell. You're completing plays in Colosseum. Yes. Or something. Yeah, I remember you were making something. Yeah, plays! It is plays! Yeah! And you had I think it was actors? I don't remember. I remember it was good, though. Festival of 1,000 Cats, I was taught it the first time, we thought it was really good, and then when I got home and realized, we've been taught incorrectly how to play the game, and then I played it the correct way, and I was like, it's not as much fun, and I remember it's about cats, and there's bidding, and the cats get too drunk on milk, and then they throw up the milk, and it was cute, and it was... Here's the thing. The way I was originally taught it, it would probably be in the good to forgettable good, but with the actual rules of the game... It's in the meh. And I'd rather revisit Airshow. And Monopoly. Oof. Alright. What is this one? Oh, this is the Tiger one. This is from, I think his name is Peter. I really wish I could remember more of his name, but I'm bad about that. The Lady and the Tiger. This was a two-player, very simple two-player game. I remember sitting with my wife at a flat-top grill, which, it's so delicious. It's like a hibachi. You make your own hibachi. But it's a two-player. I think it was like maybe 15, 20 cards in there. I want to say maybe Jelly Bean Games is coming to my mind, and it was good. It's not Big B. It's not bad. I remember it was good. It was forgettable good. It was quick. It was easy. It was easy to learn, easy to teach. I think I might still have the prototype, actually, because it was so small. And I would like to revisit it, but not as much as, you know what? Il Principe. Nope. I'm going to put it right there. Yeah. Tago. Oh my gosh. This is such a weird game. This is one of the first games I ever reviewed, and it's really stinking weird. You run like an office or something, and you have to hire a bunch of people, and it tells you about their personal lives or something. And it was really odd. And it wasn't really great. But it wasn't terrible, so we're going to go with the, you know what, you were weird, and the weirdness kind of bumps you. I would like to go back to revisit Tago for the memes, so we're going to put it there. I'd still rather go revisit Monopoly with my family, just because I have very fond memories of playing Monopoly on family get-togethers on the old Nintendo, and we used to play it, I think, 8 players, and we just passed the Nintendo controller around, and that was so much fun. Alright, Game of Thrones, why are you on here twice? Oh, one of you is the card game. Yes, one of you is the card game and one of you is not. So let's do that one is the card game. I own the card game. It is enjoyable. I've played it twice, and I don't remember anything about it in any way, shape, or form. And I would not... I'll go back and revisit Spades before I revisit that one. Yeah, I got this is one that I don't have to review. I think somebody gave me a copy because they had two for whatever reason. I don't know. It was good. It's fun. But honestly, I will say this. When I first got into it, I wasn't watching Game of Thrones. Or reading Game of Thrones, because I tried to read twice Game of Thrones. It did not work. So I imagine going back and revisiting this, this would probably get bumped up higher, because I remember being a fundamentally fun game. It's from Fantasy Flight Games, I want to say, and it was one of their LCGs, but I think they let this one die. I want to say, or they rebooted or something. It was good. It was good. And one that I still own. Gem. This is another one in the Pack of Games series, which once again are these. They come in like a stick of gum stylus pack. It's such a cool thing. And I remember Lie being the best one. That one right there. I remember Gem being okay. I don't want to go meh. I'm not going to go meh. I'm going to go at the very bottom of Forgettable Good. I don't remember anything about it. I remember thinking, yeah, this is okay. But I remember very distinctly saying, yeah, this is okay because it's in the size of a freaking stick of gum. Like, if this were any bigger, I'd be like, you know what, Tuck Box, you're not good enough. Stick of gum size game, though, you're just good enough. So we're going to go Forgettable Good with Gem. But I was not wowed by it. Peloponies, or Peloponnes, I don't know how you pronounce it. This one is about building and like... what is it? Was the words Egyptian times? I do believe, if I recall correctly. And this game was a real Game of Thrones was collectible. Then they killed it and released it as an LCG. Oh, I didn't realize it started off as a CCG. Peloponnes, though. I remember the big thing about Peloponnes is it boils down to the fact that you only make 7 decisions in the entire game, but those decisions are so dang interesting that I'm going to put it up here. Because it is a great game. I really do think it's a great game. And it's a game that I could see climbing higher, because I think there's an expansion that comes out with it. Old school game. If you ever see this one on the cheap, give this one a try. I don't think you'll be disappointed too much. And I did just break my own rule. I want to be very clear here. With my rule about not being able to talk about this for 5 minutes, it probably should go in the good category, but I do remember liking this game so stinking much when I first played it. Because I played it, I think, 3 or 4 times, and I actually still own it. I want to say, you get like wood and stuff. That's enough. It goes in the grate. Don't judge me. All right. 51. I think this is Area 51 or Looting 51. This is one where you're bidding on stuff. The theme was so garbage in this. This was such a garbage theme. It comes in a box like this, and essentially they're opening up Area 51, and you're bidding on the crap inside of there. And it was a bidding game, and it was meh. It was meh. I remember playing this at Gen Con, I think, and being like, oh, wow. This is certainly a game. It did not do it for me. That being said, I only played it once. I did play it once. So maybe it would hit me stronger, but I remember very distinctly getting a feel of meh from this one. So we're going to put it slightly above RAR, because I played RAR twice and got that meh feel. Whereas this one, I only played it once. So it could climb. Maybe the meh will go to Forgettable Good. All right, Creature College. This is one of the nicest Kickstarter prototypes that I have ever received. So nice that I thought about keeping the game, but I remember the game being pretty good. Pretty forgettable good. I think you were bidding on... I don't remember. I have no clue. I don't remember anything about this game. I remember it had nice gems, a good box insert, but that was not enough to hold up the other game. You know what? I put a Campy Creatures right there. That's one I would like to revisit, though. I will say Creature College. But I didn't even keep it. No. Yeah, we're there. All right. Tiny Epic Kingdoms. Now, I've only played a couple of the Tiny Epic games. They actually gave me a review copy, and I didn't review it because I'm a giant piece of garbage sometimes. But I will one day. I don't know why I never got to it. I think I lost the rules. And that's I have ADHD. I get so scatterbrained, and I'll have like right now. I can grab. Yes, I'm going to show you. Oh my gosh! Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Oh God! I'm going to show you. This is a giant stack of rule books right here. This is a giant stack of rule books that is my island of misfit, wayward rule books. Because I used to take oh, I don't know why I clicked on that. I used to take rule books into work with me, and I take like 5 or 10 rule booklets and say, I'm going to read these rule booklets today. And you know what? About once every week, I would get around to reading those 5 or 10 rule booklets, and then they would get lost in my car, they'd get lost here, they'd get lost there, they could put in the wrong game. And so yeah, I eventually found all of them, and now I need to put them all with their matching games. And Tiny Epic Kingdoms is probably in there. But I remember it being a good game. A forgettable good game. I don't remember much about the game. Put it right there, above Abyss. Because I would rather... Because I am actually excited to get back to that one. Because I do like the Tiny Epic series from what I've played, and I would love to get back to... Oh, I used to have a stack next to my bed like that. Good! Yes! We're simpatico. It's not just me. All right, let's see. Biblio's Dice. Now, this one I remember really enjoying. But why? Yeah, I remember it was... I think this one actually reminded me a little bit of Cosmic Run. I don't remember. It was good. It was good. And I think I still own it somewhere. I really actually want to dig this one out right now. And I was saying to myself, I would rather dig this one out than a lot of these other games. Yeah. Yeah, I remember. I kept this game. It's somewhere. It's rolling dice, and I remember it does feel like Biblio's Dice. And I love when a dice game really does capture the feel of a game. And I remember this one actually really capturing the feel of Biblios, if I recall correctly. And I tend to like dice games a little bit better than I like card games. I love meaty dice games. Oh, I love meaty dice games. This one's not a meaty dice game per se, but I do remember really enjoying it. What did I enjoy about it? Who knows? Maybe one day I'll revisit it. Cry Havoc. This is from Portal Games. This is a really stinking good dudes on a map game, where area control game. I don't remember what you're auctioning and bidding here, but I know this is a great game, so we're putting it right above here. Yeah. Do I know enough about it? No. Nope. Right there. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. It's a very good game, though. Very, very good. And I think most people would put it in the great category, to be honest with you. It's just, I don't remember enough about the game to feel comfortable putting it there. And there's some games up here that I've only played a couple. No, actually, yeah, 5 Tribes. So, Through the Ages. Now, this one, I want to say this is a little bit of a cheat. I have never actually played a physical version of Through the Ages. I only have played it on my iPad digitally, but I've probably played it about 50 times. And it is a delightful Civilization-style game that is great. And I cannot... So this is an odd one, because I've only played it digital. Maybe having all the pieces and components on the board would ding it down a little bit, but I still don't think so. And I got to give it this respect. I put it up here in the Power Grid territory. Sometimes you just play a game and you say, God, that is such a well-designed game. And this is such a well-designed game. The BGG nonsense anyway. The auction is such a small part of this game. Just the colonies part. I was going to say, I don't remember the auction or bidding in this. Interesting. Shogun. This is one I remember playing quite a few times. A buddy of my game group used to have it. He loved it. I think it had a cube tower. I don't remember, though. It's good. And I'd rather revisit than a lot of games, but I don't remember that one. I remember the theme. It didn't capture me. All right, 5 left. Flow of History. Speaking of themes not capturing me, this is a really interesting, well-designed game from Tasty Minstrel Games, but actually they just picked it up. It's from a different company that I don't remember. And I actually did a review of the original version of the game. It was a really good game. Forgettable good for me, though. I don't remember what it was about. I remember you go through history, and there's stones you have, and it's good. Man, that forgettable good category. I think that tells me a lot about the auction bidding games. They just don't resonate me with as much as other games. This is a great game that, again, was overpriced on Kickstarter in the deluxe version. Tasty Minstrel! Yeah, that game did not need the deluxe version. This one is the Pinball Showdown. This one was from a company that unfortunately went out of business. Mom and Pop one. I really liked them. They were nice people. And I really wish I remember the name of the company. Yeah, Korean company. That is right. Not for this one, but for the Flow of History. This one actually did a good job recreating pinball, and for that I'm going to put it towards the bottom of the good. No, actually, I'd rather play the Stones Fade. But I remember it because of the theme, and it did the theme well. That's all I remember. 10 Sons. This is a new one. This one's not actually out yet, and I remember thinking it was okay. But I don't remember much about it, so we're going to go forgettable good on this one. Try before you buy it on that one. And I'll put it ahead of Real Principe, though, because I do remember liking it with my son. End of the Trail. This was a Press Your Luck style game. If I recall correctly, it had a nice box. It had a sleeve on it, and the sleeve annoyed the living snot out of me. Because it had, like, wheels on it, and it got ruined. I don't know. I don't remember anything about this game. And I played this, like, last year. So you gotta go Unforgettable good here. Right there. Last one, Game of Thrones. Great game. Great. Right there for me. Especially if you can play the 6-player. There's backstabbing, there's intrigues, there's espionage, there's special abilities. There's tons of different ways to play the game. Like, it has all sorts of different balls that you're spinning in the air. It's a delightful little game. But there you go. That is my top auction/bidding games of all time. My top 69. Let me know what you think about this list. If you enjoy what I'm doing, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below as I try to reach 9,000 subscribers. Celebrate my 9-year anniversary. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.